I've set you up.
Set me up to fail. I've
Mm-mm.
hit record. We're in. What are you doing?
I was getting my notes up on
Are
my
you
phone.
looking down at your fucking notepad or at your crotch?
Just,
Imagine if you just happened to be
just
sat there. You were just sat there with no pants on and you were just looking at your
like
crotch.
this, and every time I look down, my face like lit up like blue or green or like a dark some sort of really sharp, beautiful colors.
Like it's emitting light. Like it's giving off radiation or something.
Yeah, it's got a great. The mass is so big, like the sun, that it emits rays of like. I get tanned when I look at it. I look up, and then as I look up, I've got half a tan line going across my face.
You look down, and because there's so much mass, there's just bits of dust orbiting around it and stuff.
Bit of people's rubbish. People's
Yeah,
like bits of
litter
fucking.
and stuff.
I look down and there's a minibus and there's loads of people and they've got binoculars and they've got binos and stuff.
There's a queue of people walking back to the bus, and they're all at separate bits of the orbit chasing the bus.
No, I was getting my notes out, dude, real quick. I thought I'd do it before you press record, but it turns out I wasn't quick enough because you got a trigger finger ready, don't you?
You know what I'm like. I like to hit record early and surprise you. I've just bought a coffee on the way around to do this, and I've not stirred it, so the like 3/4 of it was just like frothy, tasteless, bland, milky liquid, and then that bottom swig I've just had was like fucking tar or something.
All of it. Yeah. The last swig was all of the Starbucks.
Yeah.
Was the entirety in its whole. Yeah, like
that last swig was like fucking inhaling crack cocaine or something. It just absolutely blew my head off. I'm like, this coffee's shit all the way down, and then that last swig just hits me.
As you pull the cup away from your mouth, you're missing a tooth. Pull, you've lost a tooth. Yeah, I've been on Starbucks a few weeks now, Lee. This is what I've got to attend with.
Tell me, I always blow that, but you know what's mad, right? Every single time I set up, and instead of just before I hit record, I've just wipe all the keyboard. I'll always be right near the start and just notice one little crumb on it somewhere, and it pisses me off. So I got to blow.
Are you sure it's not a nervous energy thing?
What?
Is it not like a nervous energy thing?
Like if you're in an interview and you like twiddling your thumbs or something, like like a form of fidgeting.
Yeah, or like I noticed with the podcast, I was drinking a lot, and I think that's a nervous thing. Like I got like tea, glass of wine, got some water down there. I'm like, well, do you need any more drinks before the pod? It's like, no, chill the fuck out, dude. Just you're fine. You don't have to drink. Like you can spend an hour not drinking water.
You've you're wearing a backpack of water, and you've got like the
Camelback. Yeah.
In the tube there, and then also you've got a second camel pack for when that one runs out. Ready. You just swap them over.
Yeah, and then I've got a hat on as well, and I got one of them like hard hats with the twirly straw as well.
The beer dispensing hats.
Just multiple, and I'm like this, and I'm holding one of those fucking IV drips as well.
Yeah, like we log on and we press play on this, and I'm like, you sat in a different position today, dude, and you'd like, oh yeah, it's because I'm driving. You're like in the driver's seat with the laptop on the dash, and you're just going through a drive-through. Costa just loading up on various drinks. There's your coffee, and the bottle of Sprite. Yes, I'll take 2 of those. Just like proper loading up loads of random drinks. Like when you fucking going to a sleepover or something when you was a kid and you took loads of drinks and shit.
Yeah. Asking if they've got. So I've got a hot coffee here. I've got my cold Sprite. got any lukewarm drinks in there at all? And they're like, well, we made this tea and the lady doesn't want it, so it's kind of getting cold. Yep, I'll have it. Yep, send it over. There we go. Just get as many different temperature drinks as possible.
Yeah, you've got like a cup of coffee that's just been made, and that's slowly cooling. But you've got one you made earlier that's reached the right temperature, and you've just got this like chain going where they're consistently getting made. So as they cool down to meet your requirements, the next one's in line waiting.
I'm Neil from Art Attack, but only not with the art. I'm doing it with the drinks.
Yeah. And I'm that fucking statue head.
Do you remember a while ago for the podcast? And this happens now where you'll ask me a question or I'll ask you a question.
I love your past time speaking like we've been going for years. Like, I remember, I'm so glad we started this. You could remember we was basically kids when we started this. Look at us now. Like a month and a half ago or something.
My how we've grown.
Yeah.
Previous lives. And one of the previous podcasts you talked about, I wonder how many people use YouTube. Do you remember saying that?
Yeah, I remember.
So they were saying like how many people? Well, after something came up on my YouTube or there was a video I was watching and it said about how many people upload. And so they YouTube have 300 hours a minute uploaded, so 300 hours worth of video uploaded every minute.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking bonkers, isn't it? And then the most watched or listened to video out there, can you guess what it is? I'll give you a clue. It's a song.
Probably
narrows it down by about 10 million.
Probably a Justin Bieber song or something.
You're not far off, dude. Justin Bieber got on it. Pardon?
Drake.
Was it who?
A Drake song.
I thought he said rape. I was like,
rape.
What?
Justin Bieber. Rape.
No, it's not Drake. It's I don't know who it is, but it's some random rapper, and it's that Despacito song. Despacito. Blah 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 blah.
That's Justin Bieber.
Well, it's not. Justin Bieber went on it after, and Justin Bieber's not on the most watched one. The most watched one is the original.
That's the most watched video ever on YouTube.
Yeah.
That says a lot about humanity, doesn't it? The most seen footage in the whole world is a Latino span. What's it called? Latin. What's it called? What, like
Shawshank Redemption.
Shawshank Redemption. You know, if you're that part of the world, what you referred to as, is it a Latino or like
black,
Hispanic, or do you know what I mean?
Hispanic? Yeah. Hashtag no racist, but hashtag not racist, but could you find that? Do you find, when you like, because my geography is shit. So when I'm talking about like others, I like trying to figure it out. I'm like, yeah, so is that near blah blah blah, or what type of people are there? And it's like it's just not that well.
It's a reference, isn't it? It's not racism if you're trying to say like, are they Chinese if they're from there, or do you know what I mean? Observation, isn't it? Anyway, yeah, that says a lot about the most watched video is a pop song from a very small part of the world. Do you know what I mean? I don't even know where it's like in Mexican or some shit, isn't it?
And I bet 90% of the people that listen to it don't understand what the lyrics are.
Yeah, I'm one of them. And I don't listen to it. I have listened to it. What is the difference between you do something and you have done something? Because if you do it, that suggests that you do it regularly. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, didn't you say that Despacito was on your playlist, your tennis playlist? You said you put that. What you do is you have it on a playlist. It's about 30 songs, but you put it on there about 9 times, so you get more.
I got offered to be in the music video, just striking the tennis ball. They just wanted me in the background of that, like, just made no sense.
Didn't they want you in a white skirt as well? And as you hit the cameras from behind, and as you hit the ball, your skirt blows up a little bit, and it shows your cute white butt. Just a little bit of cute, just a cute little bit of cute butt.
Yeah, it's like as the song drops, the gust of wind just blows it up, and it just goes with the beat. I like it.
Yeah, I think it's hot.
So what your point you was making with 300 hours of footage going on every minute, that's if you work that out to how many people are viewing every minute, what sort of, I wonder what I wonder what the statistics are there for the likelihood of your video getting watched.
Yeah, it's probably
Based
quite
on
low.
your
Likelihood of this one getting watched is fucking low.
I know, yeah.
Do you know what, dude? I know that I'm already gonna I've talked to you in the past about in the near past, in very close past, about
in the near past, like that.
In the near past. Yeah, I like how I talk about, I get nervous before the pod, or like, why'd I put pressure on myself? I'm gonna look back on this and think, what a fucking idiot. We had like 4 views.
Yeah, it's a good job me or you out writing books, isn't it? It's just like, yeah, in the near past, not so distant.
In the not so distant, I was gonna say future, past.
So before today's chat, you said you was gonna do some yoga and shower and shit. What talk to me about that? Has it put you in a good headspace?
Yeah, I feel good now. Because we talked the last time, like one thing you said and I liked is you said that everything you do is in preparation for the podcast. So you'll eat a good meal, you'll go for a run, whatever it is, you'll make sure you're in high spirits for it, which I admire, because there's a lot like what Buddhist monks do with their monasteries and their meditation. They'll wake up and they'll spend the whole day essentially in activities that will induce a meditative state, such as like cleaning, cooking, whatever it may be. And that's all preparation for when they do an hour of meditation in the evening. That's some of the monasteries anyway. And I like that you had that same look.
I think
approach.
I think they do that because of like, with this being like a new thing and we've not like generated like any following yet, or like it's something that's very much in the birth of the start of something that we're sort of seeing where it'll go. So you owe it to yourself to try and do your best, especially at the start, because you're growing with it, aren't you? So if you turn up and just do it and just think, well, I'll just sort of put half an effort in, then it's less likely to achieve anything, rather than coming across like you're actually interested in it. Do you know what I mean? And seeming like it's an important part of what's going on in your life at the moment. And we've said it before that doing this talk and coming on air, it's something we might never have done without the lockdown, because it gives us an opportunity to communicate, and you sort of use, as one door closes, another door can open, can't it? Because suddenly everyone's having troubles at work. Like, you've got this extra time on your hands where you'd normally be, I don't know, say you'd be spending more time doing activities or going to the gym or doing other things. That sort of give us maybe a little push to try something like this. So if it did ever get popular and we did well with it, then yeah, you'd sort of look back and see the lockdown as a time that was beneficial. Do you know what I mean? It's what you do.
Man.
What you do with. It's what you do when if you're going through something shit, or like, I don't know, if you're restricted,
like a breakup. Like a breakup.
Yeah. If you're restricted in certain areas, then if something good comes out of it, it's easier to reflect later on. And in hindsight, you'll look back and say that was shit, but that's created the path for this to happen here with me. So it's led to something good, something positive. So
yeah, hindsight 2020, isn't it? It's I think as well, like I was thinking this earlier today. I was listening to Russell Brand and Ricky Gervais. They did a Zoom call as well. And I
Yeah,
was like, and I was like, this is a blessing, this whole lockdown thing, like in terms of us starting, because we're going to be putting out this, and this is the way we'd have to do it anyway, regardless of lockdown, because you live too far away from me, because you're not playing ball. Come down. No, I'm joking, but like the fact that everyone else is doing Zoom calls is good. I mean, everyone else is doing this, you know. I mean, there's a lot of podcasts that are still obviously going, and but
the one,
quite a lot of them are doing
yeah,
this.
the one you watched, dude. Was it a similar setup to this, Ricky Gervais and Thingy with
It
it?
was it was exactly this.
So that, yeah, so they just sort of seen where it took them and came on and just spoke about what's going on and shit.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that I think it would be good if, say, our podcast did have specific topics, would be good, but at the same time, nothing's planned, so we do turn up, and it does make you go inside your own thoughts a bit. So maybe that's something to offer. Do you know what I mean?
What do
Like,
you mean?
so if we had a specific, I don't know, say like this podcast was all about football or a certain sport or a certain topic, you come on every time and you're specifically going to talk about that, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? So like that'd become the backbone of what the podcast is. So you're all, anything you're speaking about is always going to stem from that being a subject. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whereas when you come on and just sort of say, well, because there's no discussion before ours, is we just literally we just start recording and see what happens. So a lot of it will sort of be us just rabbiting on about pointless shit, but it's our thoughts on stuff as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, before we might send each other silly voice
I
recordings,
need to.
stupid shit. Might send each other stupid shit before, just on voice recording. But
Talk to
what's
me about your talk to me about your yoga exercises. What is it you was doing before you come on air?
so the way I like to do yoga, the way is it depends on my workout. So if I'm in the gym and I'm getting after it and I'm going to do yoga after, I'm just going to relax. I'm just going to chill. I'm just going to breathe. I'm just going to move with my breathing, do a little flow. But the way I'm doing yoga at the moment is I'm doing like advanced shit.
Yeah,
So it's difficult. So it's a fucking workout in itself. And I'll do about 40 minutes to an hour. Sometimes like a 20-minute one, but most of the time 40 minutes to an hour. And it's just at the moment, because I spent a lot of like the years when I did it without being on my hands, like I felt like remember we used to piss around and do handstands, dude.
yeah, of course I do.
Paul and I used to do handstands in the communal room in the army on the camp, like in you have it like
Funny that. Remember when we used to do handstands, dude? Paul and I used to do handstands. You just said the same thing twice.
Yeah, but I was giving more context. I was gonna explain like in the and that actually got me really good at like it was funny because then I'd show off because I could do a handstand and I could do it from like so I can like kind of go on my hands and be on my feet and then just go up into a handstand. And you know what we used to do like from crow pose and from downward dog and
Yeah.
do handstands. So I just show off. So whenever I went to Croatia and I did a yoga class in Croatia, and it was just full of hot women, literally, and just me, the only dude there, and like I just showed the fuck off. They were like every pose that they were doing was meant to be like, well, it was a difficult one to hold, but like, and I could do it. And then there's been people there like that have been going for like ages and not able to do it, and I just rock up and I'm like, oh yeah, like don't really do it. And then I was just doing like handstands and shit, but it was only because of like when we used to fuck around at festivals and in the army that I could do it. So yeah, so I just do it at the moment, just a lot of like being on my hands, like in a push-up position, like a plank hold, getting strength in my hands and in my wrist. And dude, the reason I fucking love it is because it slows my mind down after when I'm done. And in life, I feel like it slows my mind down. I'm better able to to just deal with shit. And it also balances me and brings about a self-awareness in me, like better. Like if I'm doing everyday activities, when I'm moving, like let's say I'm filling the kettle up for water or I'm brushing my teeth, I recognize where I'm distributing my weight. If I'm stood there, if I've got more weight on my right hip, or if I'm picking someone up, I recognize, like, do you know what I mean? I'm just in my body more. And when I'm in my body more, it's like useful.
So me going back to me, like learning to do handstands, I was doing them loads in the army, and then when I went in jail as well, I was doing them in there, and I got to the point where I could do handstand press ups without leaning into a wall or anything, and I could do about 3 or 4, and I was the only person that could do them that like there, because lads in there that was going doing the CrossFit down at the gym, they were like going from learning to do a handstand and that, but I'd already spent time doing that. Anyway, it got to like a couple of years. Anywho, it got to a couple of years later, and it must have literally just been like last year. But my mate was like, I said I could do an handstand push up without the wall, and my mate was like, he was like, "Can you fuck?" And I was like, "He bet me I couldn't."
He was right.
What's that?
And he was right.
Nah, I did it. I fucking
Did you? After a year of not doing it.
Yeah, but after a year of not doing it, I did 2 handstand push-ups, and as soon as I landed, mate, I felt like I'd had a sledgehammer smack my back. Handstands is definitely something you need to warm up before you do that shit, and then you like carefully go into it. But I just literally was in the garden and just I went, yeah, I've been doing handstands for years. Of course I can do handstand push-ups, but not many people can do them. Like I've never met another person that could do it. Seen someone else do one. And when I did them in jail, it's because I'd got myself quite strong in there, and I already had the stability because I'd done handstands for a couple of years. Do you know what I mean? But as soon as I tried one, I weren't losing the bet though. Do you know what I mean? I thought, yeah, I'm gonna do this, and I literally did like
trying.
Yeah, I did like 2, dropped back down, and yeah, literally my back was so bad. I've not done it since. I've not even done a handstand since, to be honest.
Here's my top tip for handstands. This is what I've recognized. Is like it's about where your awareness is in part, and when you start off, when your awareness has to be in your. It's kind of strange. Like I notice if I'm thinking about, if my awareness is elsewhere in my body, I'll just tumble. But my awareness has to be in my hands and my forearms. Like a lot of people say like, oh, it's core strength and blah blah blah, and it is all of that. But it's also like a great deal of like forearm. Like I feel like most of my strength, and the reason I can just go into a handstand and hold it and be still and not like all fuckery all over the place, like one of them like wind things at the when they sell cars and the wind things.
Yeah.
The reason I'm not like a fish out of water is because I'm focusing on my forearms and my hands.
Yeah.
Like with that, it just stabilizes me.
Yeah, dude, I got mega good at the handstand. I was when I was in prison, there was one of the prison officers there. So that's someone that works as an officer for the prison, but he works in the gym. So he's like, but one of them was a cage fighter, and he was like incredibly fit. Do you know what I mean? He was like quite a little guy with a bald head, but he just had, when someone has one of them bodies where they're just incredibly chiseled and perfect shape, and there's not an ounce of fat on the whole body, but they're not absolutely huge. He was like that, and he was dead. He was learning to do the handstand, and he was another one that was quite good at it. But he set up this little assault course, and he had basically it started off. You walked along to the assault course, and those little like Reebok step up things where you can like layer them up and they get taller.
Mm-hmm.
He had one of them, and he had 4 of them in a row, and it was going up a level. Then it went to them, them big long wooden benches. Long wooden benches in PE in school. Like,
yeah. Because I remember, you can turn them upside down and then you make them like a tightrope almost, don't you?
Yeah, well, he did. He kept it the right way round, so it went up 4 levels into the finger. Then he had that bench starting higher and then going downhill, leading onto a mat. and then he had two more of them benches, but upside down, like you said, with and they were next to each other like that. And then
I know what he's doing already.
And then it went into a mat, and I got across the whole thing. It was like
via handstand, yeah.
Yeah, in a handstand, and we did like. He started off like he was going down, and he was just handstand walking around the gym. Did like a full lap around the gym. Then we just tried more stuff. Do you know what I mean? But that the reason I don't do handstands anymore is because I find, for one, wrists, mate. The pressure it puts on my wrists is just, it's horrible. You know, when you come out of it and your wrists are so tight and like feel like they're almost going to snap, and then your lower back as well is just like, if you're not in a better position trained and you try and do handstands, it's like it's well dodgy for your back, isn't it? Like any normal person just trying a handstand off the cuff is going to end up fucking the back up, aren't they? Do you know what I mean?
It could do. Yeah. That's really where I'm at with yoga. Is like not intentionally, but I was trying to get my wrist strength and my hand strength up. Not intentionally, but now that I'm doing it, I'm recognizing like, oh, I'm spending a lot of time in like on my hands, and that's the way to be. What bit of advice would you give to someone that's newly single?
You can't.
Everyone's listening and they're suffering with heartbreak.
You can't ask me that. We don't speak about that shit, do we? I will. I don't know, dude. I don't know what.
I'm single now.
I don't know what.
So you.
I don't think anyone knows good advice for that shit apart from just cracking on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that is good advice.
It's dead basic.
Yeah. Crack on.
Going back to what we were saying about handstands, what I've realised now, as you get a bit older, exercises that put too much strain on your body, you start feeling like you don't need to do them as much. Like I used to always try and go heavy on deadlifts and squats, and I don't know, I just felt as I've got a bit older, I'll still do them movements, but I just won't I won't like do my max lift because I don't feel.
Yeah, same dude.
I don't feel the need. I don't feel the need to damage my back, or because one wrong movement and you can proper fuck your back up, can't you? And like, are you with me? So I'd never feel. When you're younger, you have this perception that you want to get the highest personal best in your lifts, don't you? You want to try your maximum bench press, deadlift, you know what I mean, all that shit, and you want to say, oh yeah, I've increased by 10 kilos, do you know what I mean, since 3 months ago or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I've turned my back on all that shit. I'll still do decent weights and stuff, but I never push past my maximum. Do you know what I mean?
There's no need for it unless you're competing in deadlifting and you're like particularly well. There's no need for it. Like, a conversation I have with like some people quite a lot of the time, or a lot of people some of the times, or what have you, like, is about steroids. And like my take on steroids now is a case of, if you're competing in bodybuilding and you're like at the level and you're possibly turning pro and you're natural, then I'm like, yeah, go for it. It's your dreams. Just you got to take steroids to fucking be a pro. Essentially, you can't be a pro without it unless you're a pro in the clean version, you know. And so I think it's the same with all the other extremes in sports. Like if you're going to jiu-jitsu and you're going to jiu-jitsu to just get better and just become more confident and less insecure around people and you find it fun, maybe don't compete. Like I competed 3 times and and on the last one I got armbarred and it fucked my arm, dude. Really fucked my arm up. And I was like, oh, I'm not doing this. I was like, I ain't fucking competing ever again, because it's just not point. Like there's people competing that like that they eat and breathe. They eat and breathe like jiu-jitsu. So it's like, nah, dude, it's not. I'm not.
Yeah,
Like, I'm not.
If you're not all in with something, then what? Then you don't need to go to extremes with it. When you
Mhm.
get because obviously you have different clients that have different goals and stuff. Do you ever get clients that sort of say to you, "I'm thinking about getting on the steads or anything like that," that trying steroids or taking
Yeah.
anything? How do you advise them on it?
Um, like especially if they're older, I'm like, yeah, you know, see your doctor, etc. More power to you. Because I think when I'm 50, I'm gonna get on them. Like if I'm not producing testosterone, which I won't be when I'm that age, I'm gonna get on them. I'm gonna supplement them just as you would supplement like cod liver oil tablets or what have you. And then my advice is to do like due diligence, and then obviously it just depends. There's so many
How
variables. If it's
if
someone
you take
young, then I'll
if
be like,
you're taking them when you're in your early 20s and stuff, I wonder how much of a knock-on effect it has to you, like your hormones and stuff, because it's you you're cancelling out, aren't you? When you're putting too much of something in your body and you're stopping like the natural production of it. What sort of effects that having? Do you know what I mean?
mm.
What are you smiling for?
The story of you and
Uh,
our steroid encounter when we were young, innocent, fucking, you know, we didn't have a clue what we were doing. We'd probably been gymming for about 3 or 4 years, and we were like, yeah, I think it's time, dude. Let's get on the steroids. And the first time, and then I remember there was two stories from it. The first story is the time that you, for whatever reason, every time it come to jabbing one another, you got giddy as fuck and you just started laughing at shit. And then you fucking I remember like when we do like the thigh and the ass, we can do it ourselves, but the shoulder's a difficult one. So I'm like, okay, dude, you help me out, do it on the shoulder. And we only did what, like 6 weeks, and that was it. We did like testosterone for about 6 weeks, and then we were like, but you put the needle into my shoulder, and then as you're doing it, you fucking start laughing. I'm like, no, 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 and you're laughing, and then you're like this, and you're shaking, and then obviously I said, yeah, you're holding the syringe, shaking like this, like a little fucking love egg or rabbit or something, like a little dildo rabbit, and then vibrating away with your fucking like some Jack in the beans in the box, and then I said, dude, there's a needle in my arm. And then for whatever reason, that put you like on the ground, and you were fucking like laughing, crying, and we're like, okay, ooh, okay, I got this. And then you go back to it, and then all of a sudden you just start like silently
One
like
thing that
moving.
one area where I've always been proper weak is laughing when you're not supposed to. So when like I don't know, like say for example you're at someone's funeral and it's inappropriate to laugh, but something funny happens and you think, do you know what I mean? Stuff like that, you shouldn't laugh. But if something makes you laugh and you're not supposed to laugh, that thing becomes 10 times funnier. It can be the slightest little thing. And I was saying this used to be one of the things when I was a kid. This used to be a thing I really struggled with when I was going for an haircut. You'd go into the barbers with your mates after school, and you'd be sat there, and as soon as you'd get in the chair, and
I remember you saying last
as
time,
soon as
yeah.
you make eye contact with your friend in the mirror, he's sat on the seats behind you, and you've got a barber holding your head shaving it, and you just look funny in the mirror. You've got half your hair shaved there, and then it's all grown, and as soon as you make eye contact with one of your mates, it's just the fucking. You think if I start pissing myself in this barber's chair, he's gonna think I'm laughing at him or something. Do you know what I mean? He's gonna. So you've got to like try to think, yeah, just don't laugh, and it just becomes proper funny. Do you know what I mean? And that was
Yeah.
the same with the needle in the arm scenario. I knew that it was a serious thing. Your dad put a needle inside your skin, and you was like staying dead still, but going like, dude. I was just pissing myself. Do you know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
the same. That's the same with anything. I massively struggled with that in school. As soon as one of the teachers were trying to tell you off or something, and do you know what I mean?
Mm.
I remember being told off by a teacher, and fucking I was doing this on the desk and I was laughing, and the teacher was like, look at me when I'm talking to you. And I said, I can't because I'm upset. What I was just pissing myself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I once got pushed against the wall by a teacher because I had this book when I was young. I was like literally just a kid, and I didn't even know the swear word bloody. You know, swear word as a bloody, like as a swear word. You know,
Yeah.
bloody as a swear word. There was a load of penguins, and I was like, oh, look at those bloody penguins. And obviously the teacher thought I was saying so like stood me up, put me out, like was like get out, and then like came up against, and then like pushed me, and I fucking like hit my head against a gravel wall, started crying, and then like was like go back in, and then like I go back in, I'm crying and that, like sit down at the chair, and then the teacher goes over, sees the book I'm reading, and it's got like these penguins and they've got blood all over them, and he's like, oh. I've just traumatized this little boy for like using it like as an adjective rather than like a swear word.
Just beat the shit. Imagine if he took you outside and just proper punching you in the stomach, like, oh, in your head.
You want bloody, do you? I'll give you fucking bloody.
What's your schedule like for the weekend? Have you got any plans? You going on any walks, talks?
Working, bro.
Dude, I'm done with walks now, me. I like walking in the countryside or climbing a big hill or something like that. But when that's the only thing you've got to do, apart from outside of whatever bits of work you can do at the minute in this lockdown, your only thing to do is eat and walks. It's fucking shit. You know what I mean?
Dude, I tell you now, I enjoy our Zoom calls, but I'm fucking sick of Zoom calls.
Do you
I do
do
about 20 hours a week,
really?
maybe a bit more. Yeah, dude, 20 hours of Zoom a week plus.
How so? Say you're taking a client on over Zoom. Do they set their phone up or whatever device they're using on the side, and they're stood there just getting instructed on exercises and stuff?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like
Usually I'll make them work out in the bathtub.
just take your clothes off first of all. You're not gonna need
First
them.
of all, yeah. If they're over 18 and under 30 and female, then they have to take their clothes off when they work out.
You've just got this really weird reputation for being a creep in your area.
No, like for whatever reason, they don't recognize it as creepy. It's just like this accepted thing. It's just gone on for so long.
Yeah.
It's just normal. It's traditional. It's like a traditional thing.
Like other people are noticing it that it's not right, and they're like, "What? I thought it's normal." Like,
Yeah, people coming from out of town and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, this is just something we do here. I remember when I came to Bristol and we went to we went to one of the clubs in your town. I can't remember what it was. It was like a big nightclub, but we went to a cider boat before it. Do you remember?
Yeah, the apple boat.
There's a big apple boat, yeah, and it had just loads
The
of
apple boat, yeah. And the apple beer is called actually, the apple beer, yeah. And then you'd go there and you'd be like, oh, can I have can I get a cider? And they're like, which one? And you'd be like, oh, I don't know. And then you have a look and you're like, oh, Black Rat, that seems okay, I'll go for Black Rat. And then you fucking drink it, and then before you know it, you're hammered up off of like half a pint because it's 9% or 12%.
Yeah, it's like a dead dark liquid, looks like dehydrated piss.
Yeah, with like literally with bits in it. It looks like piss that's dehydrated with chlamydia because it's literally just got bits floating around in it. So you're like, oh, I'm just drinking chlamydia piss. Hi, can I get half a pint of chlamydia piss? That'll be £6, please. Take my money.
With I wonder what sort of alcohol percentages them ciders were, because an average cider is what, like 5% or something. Sure,
so these are literally
12%.
Yeah, they're literally but like a bottle of wine. It's like fucking drinking. Yeah, if you go there, you have 6 pints. You've essentially had like 6 pints of wine.
I know you'd never pour wine into a pint glass and just neck it like a pint, would you?
No,
wine gets you fucked up, man. I think that wine creeps up on you. You'll start drinking it and you'll have a couple of glasses, but then it just hits you, doesn't it, later on? Like it's because I think it's quite easy to drink. Do you know what I mean? It's not dead fizzy, and do you know what I mean? It doesn't like sit heavily on your stomach, so it's quite easy to sort of sit back and but you only need like a bottle of wine gets me smashed anyway.
Yeah, and especially if it's like a sweeter wine. Like I'll have red wine, and a lot of the time it's what's the word for it? Dry. I thought there was a better fucking word. I thought it was going to be like embodied or dulce or something like, but it's no, it's dry.
And infused.
Yeah, I'm like this. The word is, oh, that's a good one. The word is dry.
Yeah, like you're proper really racking your brain. I'm sure there's a word for this type of wine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a really cool and descriptive word that can be put at the start of this white wine to describe it. A dry white wine. It doesn't even sound nice, does it? How can a liquid be dry?
Yeah.
It's like the total opposite. It's like having, I don't know, can I have a cup of solid water? I don't know. That's not a good comparison, but like, can I have a cup of hot ice cream? Let's call it hot ice cream.
Ice cream. Ice cream. Like your fucking Hodger Gracie. Like your fucking Hickson Gracie. Like your Brazilian dude. Because Brazilian dudes don't pronounce R. So they pronounce an R as a H. So if they're saying like, right on, they'd be like, hide on.
Hide on.
Hide on, dude. Or going back to more about the dry and the thingy. I was just actually going to try and make
come from? At some point, they've been knocking wine up, like Romans or whoever fucking started standing on grapes and leaving it in a fucking barrel to turn into, leaving it in a barrel, and then obviously, I imagine it happened by accident. They were leaving it there, like stockpiling it, and I imagine that
they'd want another to drink it.
Nah, they believe it or not, like thousands of years ago, I think in like people used to just drink like mead and wine all day over water because the alcohol in the liquid makes it less harmful with like like pesticides and fucking like bacteria and shit. So because obviously they couldn't filter the water yet like thousands of years ago, so they used to, or hundreds of years ago, whatever time frame it was. So essentially in times of battle they were all just pissed out their head. That's why they were fucking nuts and just charged across the field at each other with fucking spears and swords and shit.
As they're running, as the Romans are running, all you see is fucking on, son, do you? That's all they're doing. Hey!
Say for example, you from here on out, your only liquid that you drink was alcohol, wine, or mead, or some type of beer that they were making from some sort of hops or some shit, or wheat, and fucking you was drinking that all day because water was actually fucking, when you drank water, it made you ill. So I think that's because you think back, don't you? Like, how did they have the guts to fucking, in times of war, imagine standing across from an army that you can physically see the twats, and then you've literally got to go charge and then run across a field when there's fucking arrows flying at you and shit, and you've got to run across a field with a sword and then essentially just start swinging it at everyone, hoping not to get killed. I bet they used to massacre their own men and shit. You know, if you're in a fucking, as soon as those two armies have connected, as soon as they've met each other in the battlefield, they charge each other, and then they start killing each other. That'd get messy. I know for one, you'd literally be stabbing anyone that was near you, wouldn't you? You'd be that scared. Do you know what I mean? You'd be chopping down loads of your own men, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I reckon. And imagine D-Day as well, like when the Germans are gunning that, you would be in the, if you're in the boat and you're ready to get out and run, you just know, wouldn't you? You'd be like, this is fucking ridiculous. You'd be like, I'm running to my death. Like, and if I don't run to
I always used to think, me, if you was a soldier back in the times of like using swords and stuff, like Romans, Vikings, all that sort of shit, and you was charging across the field, or even if it, like the First World War, when they was storming over the fucking over the top of the what they called the
mine
trenches was the word I was looking
trenches.
for. Anyway, I always used to think, me, if you was like, right, come on, let's go, charge, and you're running across, I always used to think, like, if that was me, I'd pretend I was a really slow runner, just slowly getting. You start at the very front and just letting them overtake you. Come on, get it.
Head down, moving your hands really quickly, but your feet are just moving. Your feet are just snail trail.
Yeah, you just like you're literally
really wide.
In a minute,
really wide.
I'm out of breath. Just go without me. Just go. Yeah. You won't want me.
I'll be there in a minute. I'll be there. I'll be there in a second. Get mum.
I think it's nuts, me thinking back, like any sort of time frame before using signals, any time frame before using electricity and signals, and having the ability to just phone somebody or send messages instantly. Do you know what I mean? Remember, like, say the Roman army had a fucking army in Britain and they needed to get a message over to France. They'd physically have to send someone with that message, or fly pigeons, or whatever the shit they did. Do you know what I mean? I'd like fucking messenger birds and shit, and they'd have to send someone to make that journey, to take that information. So, like, I've got a message for you. Taking this message, it takes like a week for him to get there, and then you've got to wait another week for him to bring back the response. It's just fucking mad. Imagine if you proper needed to know something. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, dude, yeah. Like, you fucking got a girlfriend, and like you think that she's been up to something, and you're waiting on a response to see if she's fucking.
Tell me what Cleopatra's been doing in my absence.
Yeah.
That's
like.
like,
But also, when we were kids, dude, we had pagers. Do you remember? Like, I had a pager, so it's
I
like.
never had a pager. I wasn't gay.
Well, I'll have you know, I was the first one to want to go to war.
Yeah, I do remember pages, but I remember when I was a kid, the thing I remember, because we're at that sort of age group where we grew up as young kids without internet in our lives, didn't we? And I remember not even having a computer at home, but like we got to. I just remember when you was a young kid, it was like the summer holidays and shit. If you wanted to go to your mate's house.
Yeah.
Yes. You've just
freedom.
When you was a kid and you wanted to go to your mate's house, you'd just go knock on for him, wouldn't you? And then you'd knock on for somebody, and like the mum or dad would answer the door and be like, "Oh no, they went out about half an hour ago," and then you'd be able to decide where they're likely to be, and then you just think, "I'm gonna go and look for them on the park, or like in the woods or something. That's where they'll be." And you used to find them.
Yeah, and you would, wouldn't? Yeah, because there'd only be like a set amount of places, wouldn't you? You'd be like, where do you reckon? And then also it depended who they were with. So if they were like, they left with Wayne, you'd be like, I reckon.
Either come to his house, or he's on this bit of the park, or
yeah.
That's unimaginable now, isn't it? Like no child will ever know having to physically go and find someone. Do you know what I mean?
And also, there was also another thing that was crazy. It was that there was no anxiousness about it. If they were like, oh no, they went out half hour ago, you wouldn't like, oh fucking hell, do you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like a big thing. It was like, oh okay, I wonder where they are, and then you'd figure it out. There was no like anxiousness behind it, you know.
One thing I have said, and I genuinely do think this, is in school I was from like quite a poorish family. Do you know what I mean? Like I wasn't that kid in school going on holidays and with his parents in the summer holidays and getting bought loads of nice things and stuff like that. So I think I've made the observation that if you was in my sort of position as a kid, it'd be a lot more difficult to live it now than it would have been back then, because now you've got like all the other kids in your school on Instagram, and do you know what I mean? It's all in your face, isn't it, with social media? So if you've not got any money, then you're in a position where you feel like left out, wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean?
So when you were young, you were poor and gay.
Poor and gay. Poor and still in the closet. Yes, so I don't know. It was more. I think when you had less money growing up, you did more things outdoors, didn't you? You was just in the woods and fucking. I don't know. I spent most of my childhood when I was younger. I was on a scooter. Do you remember the fucking little fold-up scooters? And then we got to the age where we all got pedal bikes when we was about 9 or 10, and we was just cycling round. Like in the summer holiday, you go to your mate's house at like 9 in the morning, and you'd be out on bikes till 10 p.m. Where would you even go? Do you know what I mean? Just cycling about and shit.
It's a bit like lockdown.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it, dude.
No, what advice would you actually give for being single or for a relationship? I'm curious. I'm curious to get your ideas and perspective on it.
In what sense? Like,
Because here's something that I want to be aware of, and so because like how I deal with it is, first of all, I'm not gonna fucking wallow. I'm gonna be like, right, okay, it hasn't worked. Oh, and dude, I did a bit of reflection the other day on all my previous relationships, and like after what happened after they ended, what happened, and my life improves significantly after every end of a relationship. And I don't mean that in a way of like, oh, it's good to fucking get out of a relationship. I just mean like, because you get more time and more energy to focus on yourself. So then you do that and then you grow, and then, you know, like you either get in a better position in work, you manage to get your shit together, like your environment, you kind of like a bit more switched on with it. And it just like, so a byproduct of a relationship ending, unless you're a fucked up individual, most of the time you're going to grow from it, you're going to learn, you're going to reflect, and then you're going to better yourself and who you are as a human. You're going to learn about how to be with an, you know, well, when I meet somebody else, and I'm going to know a little bit more about how to be around them, how to be patient, how to be understanding, how to show them that I understand where they're coming from, using techniques like mirroring, things like that. Like, so yeah, on reflection, it made me feel good. So I was like, oh, it's always been good. It's always kind of like, yeah, and I don't want to escape. I don't want to run away from my emotions. So I want to, like, if I can feel sadness and pain, like I'll accept it and deal with it. I won't run away from it. But at the same time, I'm also not gonna engage it too much. You know, the pain body, you know, where you kind of, and you'll know, dude. You'll know what I'm talking about. You'll know. I know you'll know when you fucking you put on a song and it's a sad song, and you're like, and you feel sad, and you put the song on, you indulge your sadness, and you indulge the pain, and you're like, oh, poor me. Oh my god.
I think my take on a breakup is it very much depends on whether that breakup is final. So whether there is still something to work on, whether there's a chance of you getting back with that person, or whether, do you know what I mean? Because some breakups aren't final, and if it does happen to be final, I think initially you're gonna have ups and downs, good and bad days, aren't you? You'll have days where you think, oh well, that's not worked out. I'm not blaming the other person or myself, but I've got to sort of just like focus on myself for a bit. And do you know what I mean? But then you'll have other days where you'll really miss them, and you'll think, what if it's the wrong decision? And do you know what I mean? So I think there's a period of going through a mixture of feeling positive about it and having that I want to say like regret and stuff. Do you know what I mean? I'm thinking, what if we weren't supposed to end here? Or do you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know, dude. I'm not too clued up on it and what I
Oh, I'm not,
What
but
happened?
it's just your experience, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah. With relationships, I think that you can be with someone and you can notice issues with them or things you don't like about them, and areas where you think, oh, this particular thing ain't going very well. But then you can also think, well, no matter who you get with, you are going to have some problems if you look for them. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's
of course.
about sort of whether you can deal with them issues or whether they're too much of a problem for you to work on the relationship. So yeah, I think it depends, dude. Every case is different, and
Of course, yeah,
there's
yeah,
no,
yeah.
there's like I think there's written rules, isn't there, what can help you with certain things, like how to be successful in a certain area, whether it's business or certain things. There's written things that can help you, but they're not always 100%, are they? There's always flaws in everything. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think it depends on your circumstances. Whoa,
Yeah.
that wet patch, sweat patch.
I'd seen that earlier, and I was going to say about it, but I wasn't sure whether it was just the Under Armour, whether it's just the fucking top that you had on. I
I
didn't know
didn't
whether
even
it.
try lying about it. Yeah, it's just the fabric's just a different color, and there's just a circle of slightly darker fabric under my armpit.
Well, I seen some. I can't remember who it was now, but it was some celebrity dude, and he had a jumper on, and it was like that, and it was like it was really bad because it was like that. So I was like, oh my god, look, I'm actually sweating, but it went a bit too far down here, and then I was like, oh, it's a pattern. Like what awful design pattern, you know? Just
Yeah,
a t-shirt that makes you look like.
constantly look like the selling point of that jumper is to please buy this because it will constantly make you look like you stink and have a big foot,
Yeah.
sweaty arms, and
What? Yeah, it's like what's the fuck? What's it called when you sweat? It begins with P. Perspire. Hey, first one, dude. 19 podcasts in, and that's your first fart. Well done.
one. I like
Perspire.
um I like to keep you guessing when it's coming. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I never know because you've never done one. That's your first time in all these times. Yeah, perspire. So it's like the perspire. The perspire complex, and you buy a t-shirt that makes you look like you're perspiring.
Or you go and get a really nice dry antiperspirant. I don't understand why the word dry is getting attached to all different kinds of products. Dry white wine and a dry antiperspirant.
Try this luxurious dry steak, dry fish.
Yeah, are you cold, dude?
That was a little bit nippy. Yeah, that was a little bit. I'm playing with my hair a lot in this podcast.
Do you know one thing I don't think you've done, have you? Which I think's ludicrous in the fact that you live in a camper van. You've never drove over to Europe anywhere in your van, have you?
Mm-mm. I've done a lot of Europe driving though in the past.
I find that nuts, man. Like you literally are the perfect candidate. Like how have you never had a weekend where you and your girlfriend have had nothing to do and thought, I don't know, should we drive to Amsterdam? It's sunny, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like that's
I'll tell you
the shit
now.
I'd have
I'll tell
done.
you why. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. She had no fucking interest. Nah,
Yeah.
to be fair, she did right towards the end, but like I built this van. It was like, and it was of the idea and the dream and the goal set, and like this. I've said it before, but it was also I like being in the wilderness. So I did have like ideas of going to Scotland, maybe going to France, going south of France. I was thinking about Monaco as well. Checking Monaco out. It's about 6
How have you
hours.
never gone anywhere in your van? But you've
What do you
lived
mean?
like
Yeah,
anywhere.
I have.
Oh, have
You're
you?
just like you're just narrowing the thing for me. You're just like first you're like, how have you never gone to Europe? I'm like, yeah, fair one. And then you're like, how have you never gone anywhere?
Have
Like
you left
I
the
have.
country in it?
No, I've not left the country, but I go to Wales. Well, I guess because I've gone to Wales. I go to Cornwall. I've gone.
Oh, dude, you should well do a Europe trip in it. Be sick that drive. In a week you could probably drive to Berlin, go to France, Paris. You could see every single Europe country in a matter of
Mhm.
weeks, couldn't you?
The only reason I haven't is because, like I said, like I would always try and get my girlfriend to come out and do it, and
You know where
she
you know where you've
wouldn't stay in
gone,
the van 'cause she was afraid to.
you know what you should have done with it
What?
is just planned something and just said, "Oh, pack your bag, we're going here." Do you know what I mean? I've already paid for it, planned it. That's what you do with a girl. If a girl, because what I've noticed with a lot of girls is when you suggest something to them, they don't like the sound of it. But if you know it'll be a good experience,
Yeah.
if you just say, "Oh, I've booked this," or "I've decided we're doing this," then when they actually do it, they'd enjoy it. Do you know what I mean?
hmm Yeah, so true, dude. And we did, to be fair. We went away. We went to like places in like Wales, North Wales, uh, down south. This like huge hill thing, and like every time she loved it. But
Yeah. Imagine
still,
like you live in Bristol. Yeah, we went away. We went to Salisbury. We went to Tidworth. Just like naming some really shit fucking places. We went.
dude,
We had a
right?
good,
You've got Wiltshire's beautiful.
we had a lovely weekend in Basingstoke.
Yeah, or just bit other going from a built-up area to another built-up area. So I'm just going to like Newport and places like that. It's
Yeah.
just real shit up. Shout out to Bridgewater. The shitholes. Where's the shithole near you, dude?
Well, there's some rundown areas in my town. I think especially in like Manchester and stuff. There's loads of areas, but then within the areas you can literally be on a really rough estate and then go up the road and see posh houses, like a really short distance away. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, there's rough areas around here, to be honest.
Yeah, I never get that when there's like white, like when there's these beautiful, almost like grand design type houses with all these beautiful shapes to them, and you're like, oh wow, and they got like the wood, and then like next to it is just like a fucking ghetto with like spray painted
Know the
garage.
answer to that question?
Yeah, go on.
It's all down to land, isn't it? So the the council or whatever will acquire land and they'll mass produce estates on it to cater for like all the housing needs of people, and then property developers, they'll get hold of land, and it's all down to planning permission. And if someone gets hold of land, it doesn't matter if it's near an estate. If that land passes the whatever checks it needs to get planning permission, then investors will build nice houses on it. So it depends who's building the houses. Do you know what I mean? And that's why a lot of the time you'll see nice houses near like cheaper houses that are like council and stuff, because it's down to who owns the land. If someone gets hold of a large piece of land, a profitable thing for them to do with that land is get planning permission and then
Mhm.
either sell it on to an investor or I know I've got a friend that's he's he's quite successful, to be honest, and he's done that. He's building 6 houses on a piece of land at the minute. And what he did is he acquired the land, he got the planning permission, and you get people to invest to them because it's a sure thing. Once you've got the land and you've got the planning permission, investors will see that as a good way to invest the money, because they can work out what the houses will be worth when they're built, so they can understand what profit there'll be, like almost straight away. Do you know what I mean? So say it's like
Do I
take
know this friend?
what?
Do I know this friend?
No, you don't know this person.
Dude, is it? I've actually learned something on this podcast. That's cool. I learned. I didn't. That was an interesting perspective about it. Depends who buys the land, and that's so true. Like it depends who, and I wonder if this. Like life serves you up with coincidences. I wonder if this is one of those times, because yesterday I just hit a point where I was a bit sick of being in the van. I've been in the van about a year and a half now, and I was just fucking, yeah, dude, just sick of being in it. Like, you know, because it's like, it's, don't get me wrong, like, most of the time I'm pretty positive, but it's when it's like, oh, I need a poo. And then it's like, this is some great adventure now. Just, I need a poo. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, I either drive to the wilderness, trek out and find somewhere, or if I'm in the wilderness, I'll trek out, or I go to a garage, or if I'm close at home, I'll go to my dad's or whatever. But like, I was a bit like, right, I'm fucking done. And I was like, and I was thinking about what I want. And I looked at land and like, now I'm in a place of, rather than like buy property to rent out and then a few months later buy another property, now I'm thinking about, because of lockdown and because like I can have nothing but time. If I let's say I don't train my clients, I can have nothing but time then. And if I buy a property that's a shithole and I can make value, I'll buy it 10% instead of 25% because I'll buy it to live in it as a shithole, move in, be a fucking typical white guy renovator, you know, like South Park, where they're like Randy renovates houses and does MMA in his spare time, and he's just hitting the bag, you know. So I'll be plenty of open space area. I mean, that will be. So I'm tempted now, and then I thought about buying land. So I'm like, shall I buy land or shall I buy a property, like a shithole property, renovate, or what's it called,
Renovation.
refurbish it, and
Well,
then
renovation is more down to when the needs like building work, I'd say. So like if it was, but refurbish is like more to do with like making it, you know, like you're decorating and you, if the walls just,
like new kitchens and stuff.
yeah, stuff like that. So if you get a property that needs renovating, then it's like it needs building work doing to it. But if it just needs refurbishing, then yeah, I'd say it was stuff more like nicer kitchen, or say the bathroom getting done up, or do you know what I mean? Where it's less work, but because it's the property itself's already at a good enough standard to just renovate rather than. I think that's the meaning I take away from them words anyway.
No, I think you're right. I was debating it because it just makes, and imagine now if the lockdown continues for another like 6 months, like I would be in my fucking element. All the fucking DIY shops are open, so it's not like I wouldn't be able to get material. So I could then I'd have a 6-month project on my hands where I would just fucking work on my on my house, and by the end of 6 months I can fucking then, you know, if I'm finished, look at refinancing it and getting a load of money out of it and maybe even selling it on, and boom. It just makes sense now to me to maybe do that, to maybe go down that path.
With we're doing something like that, I think it's a great idea, but I think you need to know people in different trades just so you can, if you have different like friends in different trades and stuff, it helps you because you can get help with certain jobs where you don't have to pay
as
like
much.
ridiculous amounts of money to have like the electrician to rewire it or whatever. But no, I think anything to do with building and stuff like that, it's always profitable, isn't it? If you own a property and you make it better, then it's like guaranteed money in it, because it's unlikely to lose value. If you're doing it up, it's only going to gain value, really, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Are you still gonna go to in March? Are you still gonna go to that apartment place, that swanky?
Potentially, yeah. I'm waiting to sort of find out, but yeah, at the moment I'm investing time into this clothing venture, so that's in the early stages at the moment. So that's my
sort of there, dude.
What?
You want to pause there?
Yeah. We go. We're back in. That was
Wait, did you say, when did you start recording? Did you record before or after you said don't mention that?
Shut up, you tit. I'm already recording.
But I thought you went, we're recording now, so don't mention that.
Oh right, no.
Yeah, that's what I thought you did.
Don't mention that. I'm hitting record.
Oh, okay. Thought you'd hit record. And it was like, that's a good start.
Just come straight back on. Put your dick away.
Yeah, all you hear is just like rustling and talking, like whispering.
So what's been going on today
Huh?
other than your bit of yoga, which you swear by?
Dude, I fucking love it. Fucking,
I
it
just
is
think I do like yoga, but I find that like I said, I find it very boring.
boring. Yeah. Do you know why though? Do you know why I think you find it boring?
Like I think I'll bring yoga into my life when I'm older, like when I'm in my 50s or something. Do you know what I
Nah,
mean?
dude, you gotta do it now, man. You gotta do it now. Trust me.
Not enough
Trust
hours in the day. Do you know what? I'd apply myself to them 15-minute yogas, but I'm not sitting on a mat for an hour doing weird shit.
No, don't sit on it. It has to be challenging. I'll send you the ones, dude. This is why I think you find it boring. Maybe it's because they're not in the middle of like challenging. They're not like like flow state. The idea of flow state is it has to be enough challenging.
You know what I don't like about yoga?
Don't worry about flow state.
That I don't know. I don't like the fact that we'll go back to flow state. I don't like the fact that it takes so long, and in that time you could be doing other exercises that are more enjoyable. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
for me, if I could go and play tennis for an hour or sit on a mat just going, putting my foot up next to my hand and shit, I just find it weird. It's very good for you, but it's fucking weird.
It's only it is weird.
Like a lot of weird people do it, don't they? Like it's quite it's a unique what do you call it? It's not like a it's not a sport, is it? But it's a unique practice, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's not. I know what you're saying, but like I know what you're saying because like if you look on YouTube, it's like they've all got Mandela tattoos and whatnot.
Yeah,
But like, so yeah, I get what you're saying. Like I get like they've got palm trees on their ankles, but like I don't know because I see all different types of people, like
yeah.
mums and stuff, and older people, old grandmas, and so I don't think it is like but I know what you're saying. Like if you look on YouTube, you think it's all the same like hippie people, but it's
Oh
but
no,
it's
it's
real.
not me saying that. It's not me saying that everyone that does yoga is weird, but I find it it's quite specific, isn't it? Like as well, it's almost until you've ever tried it, until you've ever got involved in it. Because I went to them hot yoga classes, and for me, I was going there. My whole thing around doing a bit of yoga was for the completely for the
Pussy.
physical benefits, pussy, physical benefits. So flexibility, helping to be more stable and stuff like that. So I wasn't asked, when they sit in the room and she was like saying, close your eyes and think about everything you're thankful for. I want you to feel thankful and like start. And I just thought, this is weird.
Get out and walk out.
Yeah, no, I didn't work out, but I just found it like, and then at the end of it, she was like namaste, and I don't know, just
Nah,
that whole aspect of it, I thought was weird, but
I'm with you.
the actual
Yeah,
exercises are good. But
dude. I know. I'm
it,
100% with you on that, but like that's not how dude. Well, that's yeah, dude. I'm 100% with you. That's not how I do it, man. I'm all about put yourself in a position, stress holds, hold it, breathe, and then when your mind's like, okay, stop now. Oh no, it's starting to hurt. I'm like, nah, bitch, you're staying. And then like you kind of fight, and then you go into it more. You go into it, you hold it, you hold it. You think, oh, I'm done, I'm done, I'm done, and you're shaking like a shitting dog, and you got to keep going, keep going. And then by the time you finish, dude, and you're just covered in sweat, and it's a fucking hard session.
yeah,
You just like completely in the moment. You're just zen. You're not thinking about the future, the
that
past.
aspect of it's brilliant. And what was you going to say before about flow state? When
Oh, I
in
was just saying, like the thing that's going to make it more enjoyable for you is getting in the middle of flow state. And I think they say that how you get about in flow, how you go into flow state is the activity or the objective that you're trying to achieve has to be challenging, but not too challenging that you can't do it. and then it also has to be challenging enough that you're not bored because it's too easy. So it can't be too easy and it can't be too challenging. It has to be in the middle, and it has to be, and that's how you achieve flow state. And I think there might be another
I would
part to that.
definitely like. I think yoga is something that will help people involved in sports or any type of competitive
Movement, any
movement.
movement. Yeah,
I think that
tennis, dude. It helps with tennis.
doing some yoga will be good for injury prevention and like lasting long. People that do boxing or any type of fighting sport, I think yoga is beneficial. But for me personally, like one thing I said as I've got a bit older, one of the most important things for me about training is to do types of training that either I solely do because it's massively good for me. So like the ones that I find difficult, like doing burpees and stuff, are trying to do training that's fun. That's how you'll last in doing having a long prosperous life of doing different training and stuff. Enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? Like if you don't, if you know when people like, oh, I've got to go gym now, or do you know what I mean? Like, oh, I've got this session in a bit, and you're dreading the session, and you're thinking, oh, I'll just get this session out the way. Whenever you feel like you have to just get something out the way, that you're not benefiting massively from that because you're not going to apply yourself as much. Like you're almost just doing it just for the fact that it's like if you go when you go on a run and you think I want to lose some weight and you're going on runs and you're thinking I'll just go on this run. The actual run itself's disgusting. I don't enjoy it. Like oh, it's horrible. Afterwards I feel like it's rewarded me and I feel good afterwards, but the actual activity itself was horrible. So I say, well, why does it have to be running? If you enjoy punching a punch bag, or you enjoy going on a swim, or if you whatever aspect it is, playing tennis, basketball, anything, I would rather that hour doing that sport I love or that fun activity than I would going on that run that you think, oh fucking hell, I've got to do this run today. Do you know what I mean? So like I think the secret to success in fitness is enjoying the type of fitness you choose. I
I
think
agree with you. Yeah, I agree with that
so.
wholeheartedly.
So,
I think,
so having said that, I think cardiovascularly, get involved in a sport, whether it's boxing, playing football. People love playing football, being on a team. Do you know what I mean? That going for runs like I always I did a lot of running in the army, and then once I left I've been for a run today, and again, like I fall into that category of going on that run solely for the fact that I want to look trimmed down a bit. Like I wasn't dead excited before that run and thought, yes, I can't wait for this run. Do you know what I mean? Like I find running you have to do regularly. You have to get to a point where you're really good at it, and then you start to enjoy it. But running for a lot of people can be very unpleasant, can't it? And it can be very difficult. So if you're one of these people that starts going on runs and you've just got this feeling, oh, I can't be bothered, and sack the run off and find a sport that you like doing or find an activity. It can be anything as long as it's fit.
unless,
What?
yeah, unless the dichotomy of that though, with the polarity in that is you do need courage. Well, first of all, you need the courage to try new things and new experiences to discover what you do enjoy doing. And then on top of that, you definitely need discipline to do the things you love, because like I enjoy bodybuilding, I enjoy like all these different yogas, jiu-jitsu's activities, but I still need discipline to get me there, because like today I could have quite happily not done yoga. I could have quite happily like been like, nah, because it's hard. So I could have quite happily been like, nah, just chill today, take the day off. But I was like,
Yeah.
but with the discipline, I'm like, no, I'm gonna do it. It's not a question.
Yeah. Well,
I wasn't looking forward to it.
I think it's everything I've just said there. I swear by that as a process, And I swear
As a
by
yeah.
what?
I was gonna say, yeah, as a process, I think, yeah, like it like looking at it quite like rather than look at it like linear, look at it more just like the whole thing. Like, do you enjoy it?
No,
Yes or no?
what I'm talking about leaving school or whatever age you are, deciding that for the rest of your life you're going to be active and healthy.
Oh yeah, yeah, you have
The
to.
way to do that is to fucking enjoy it. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, there's no need to specifically go for a run or specifically do circuit training. If you hate doing it, you can get some benefit from just you can get a similar benefit from doing another activity that you might enjoy. And I apply that same thing to work and business. If you don't enjoy your job, if you don't love what you do for a living, then you're literally working for money, and you feel like you have that same experience as that person going on that run where you're thinking, right, today at 3 o'clock, I've got to go on a run. And you're like, it's getting closer to 3. And you're thinking, bloody hell, I just can't wait to get this run out the way. And people are similar to that in the jobs. They'll go to work and it'll get to dinner time and they're like, fucking hell, I've got 4 more hours of this or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And it's because they don't enjoy the job. If you don't enjoy what you do, then your motivation to do that thing is financially and not the fact that you're passionate about it and do you know what I mean and enjoy doing it. I've always really struggled applying myself to tasks I don't enjoy, and genuinely, like before I was tattooing, all the jobs I've always done the jobs and like literally just counted the second till it's finished. And like say you finish at 5 o'clock, it's literally 4:59 and I'm literally getting my coat, I'm ready to leave. You know what I mean? It's like it's that much where you just want to get out of there. And then you like say you start at 9 a.m, you're literally getting there at 8:59. You won't go in a minute earlier. Do you know what I mean? It's like, until I started tattooing, in the whole couple of years I've tattooed, dude, there's only been a handful of times, and I'm talking you could probably less than 10, where I've really thought, oh, I can't be arsed with this tattoo today. I could genuinely enjoy it, so I'm happy to go there any day of the week. Do you know what I mean? And that for me means that I've got a good work ethos. I've got a good. The benefit of enjoying your job is it gives you a good work ethic. Like you will work, and it's not just about the money, because you that's your passion. You'll do that on the day where you're most tired, proper can't be asked, but you'll still go and do that because you love doing it. Do you know what I mean? For
Yeah.
me, like literally, like when and that gives me a better spending habit when I've got to work. Like, say I've got to buy something, someone that really works for doing a shit job and like works hard for that money, and like almost can be more careful with the money because they can think, bloody hell, I've got this £1,000, I've worked X amount of hours for it, and do you know what I mean? I don't know whether to go and buy these clothes, or I don't know whether to spend it on this holiday because it was a struggle getting it. Do you know what I mean? Whereas when I want to buy something, I just work out how many hours of fun I've got to go and have at work. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if you enjoy your job, you suss it out like that. For me to buy this, I've got to go and do what I love for 10 hours, or do you know what I mean? Like,
That's part of the self-discovery though, isn't it? Like, obviously,
yeah,
I think when you are young, it's all part of it. It's all like everybody goes through it, and it's part of. It's very rare that someone's born and they're like, I know exactly what the fuck I want to do. Like, that's like Conor McGregor type characters who know, or big celebrities or whatever, who know from the get-go. The majority of the time, you're just going to be in shit jobs, and whilst you're in the job, the idea is get in the job, and then whilst you're paid, essentially, when you can, like, obviously don't take the piss, but when you can, start plotting. But like whilst you're in their time and you're paid for their time, it's active time. You want to be in there, you want to be taking action, you want to be like obviously like working hard in that job, but at the same time plotting what you're going to do and how you can like progress to get out of it. And then whilst you're not in the job, then you go home and then you start the side hustle, and then you
Do
make
you know
that
where I think a big problem is in this, and I think it's a major problem, is schools. I think schools teach you all wrong from a young age. Schools
Of
teach
course.
you go to school and schools teach you about normal jobs, like, oh, so if you work hard in this area, you could leave, go to university, and you could become a doctor, or you could go and do this job and you could become a lawyer or a solicitor, or you could do this and you could become a maths teacher. You with me? Like they
Mhm.
talk about standard things, but they don't really open up into a kid's personality and say, right, well, what you like swimming.
What do you want to do? Yeah.
They're like, oh, you really love swimming and you like hot countries, right? Well, why don't you go and be a diver in fucking, I don't know, in Spain or
Wow.
something? Do you know what I mean? Like, why did he teach you just about normal standard shit when they're not diving into figuring out a kid's passion, or do you know what I mean? Like, why does it have to be so? Because I remember when I was in school, I left school thinking I wanted to be an architect because I was good at drawing and thought, oh, that's a natural thing. I'll go to college, I'll do art and stuff like that, and be an architect one day. And obviously, I went off in the army and stuff. Did what I was doing, but with tattooing, like for me, sort of, I'm just utilizing something I'm good at, and because I'm quite good at art and stuff like that, it come I enjoy doing it. So it for me it comes naturally and it feels good when I do it. Like I finish a tattoo, mate, and if the tattoo looks really good and then the customer is looking at it, and what they often say, a customer will say, oh my God, it's well better than I thought it'd be. And that's a compliment when they say that. It makes you feel good. So it's rewarding. I'd have done that tattoo for nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like I genuinely would have done, and I've been paid good money for it. So that's a good feeling. Like, and this is always something like with other jobs in the past. Like I said, I've been that person where you go to do a job and you literally you almost resent the company a bit. I've worked in an office before, and you almost develop a bit of hatred for the bosses and stuff because you think, fucking hell, they're having a go at me, it's just shit. And do you know what I mean? And you start thinking like the manager's a dickhead, but he's just giving you shit because he's getting shit from someone higher up, and you fall into a thing where you go and doing this job, and it can be like it can have a negative impact on your happiness. It can make you feel shit about your life. It can make you feel like, I think working occupies far too much of your life for it to not be brilliant. Like you wake up and all through the day, the main hours of that day, all week are doing the job. So I think at a young age, people should be encouraged to figure out what they're good at, figure out what they enjoy doing, and chase after that as a job, as a career. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if you love animals and you want to go and work in a zoo, or it doesn't matter. Or if you are really money motivated and you just want a good job because you like doctors get paid good money, so I'm going to go to uni and become a doctor and learn to, like, do you know what I mean? And then you
That's a
feel,
bad example, and I'll tell you why. If a doctor's in it for money, right? Like, this is why it's a bad example.
it might be a bad example, but the point I'm making's
The
correct.
point's good, yeah. But imagine if a doctor goes in and you're going in, you're like, oh, I've got this problem, and they're like, oh, fuck off, because like they just care about money. They don't care about fucking, they
No,
don't care about your. They're not compassionate. They're not like caring, like because obviously.
no, but if you reach a point of being a doctor, you've done years and years learning your trade. So that means you'll have to provide a good service anyway, because you obviously wouldn't last, would you? If you was a dead shit doctor, do you know what I mean? The amount of training you've done to get there, you probably wouldn't get through the uni and stuff if you was Like, that's what I'm saying. It depends what drives you as a person. But I swear by it in training, and I swear by it in work. Them two things, you have to enjoy it. Simple as,
Dude,
bottom line.
have you heard of NLP?
No. I've heard you go on about it. What's it to do with?
I think you like it. It's about everybody's subjective reality. So it's essentially what it is it's like understanding human behavior. So it's like how humans behave, how they think, how they sort of feel, it kind of is all encompassing of like this. I don't know, but it covers a lot of ground. And one thing it talks about is it talks about the economy of a goal. So like so for example, if you have a goal, rather than looking at that goal and being like, okay, this is my goal, and then you kind of like, obviously you're going to look at like the actions that you need to take to get there. You also pull yourself away and you think about like the economy of the goal. So if you've got a goal that requires a lot of time, a great deal of your time, you're like, I'm going to achieve this great thing, become a boxing champion in this certain place away from home. Then you look at, all right, well, how's that going to affect your outside world? And and then what you can do from that is, if I want a goal, but I'm also means that I'll be spending no time with let's say I've just had children and I want to be around my children and I want this goal, but it means not being around, then there's a confliction between the both. There's that sort of push and pull. And so that's your name, Paul. So there's push and pull, and like, that's what that reminded me of when you were talking about the enjoy your training. It's like that's a little bit about, and enjoy your work. It is like that. It's like, and then when you do that, the economy thing, you pull yourself away.
You know what I think can happen, and I think people can overanalyze things like psychology, proper study, like why do you think this way? They try and break down how things work in the brain, when none of that shit really matters. Like, everything should be broke down into really basic steps in your head. Like, what do you want? I want to enjoy my day. I want to enjoy doing this. It doesn't matter why I think like this. That's irrelevant. Like, I don't need to know how the engine inside my car works. I know if I get in the car, switch the engine on and turn the steering wheel and do the other actions that are necessary, that car will do what I need it to do. I don't need to know I don't need to know the psychology behind the car's engine. I don't need to know. Like, I find that people can get too hung up on trying to understand, like, all these different methods of like you're saying with this NLP, like, I don't think you need to know that shit to instead just instead of just paying attention to how you feel, do you know what I mean? Or what you want. Look at things really basic. Right, my body's telling me I'm hungry. I'm going to go and get some food. My body's telling me I'm unhappy. What will make me happy? Right. Doesn't matter why this thing will make me happy. I don't need to know the psychology of it. I don't need to know. I just know when I do that thing, I feel good. I'm going to do more of that. Are you with me? Like, I think you can analyze
I'm
things.
with you, but I disagree.
What?
I disagree. I agree that you can analyze things too. I'm learning about beta brainwave. And so what it talks about is beta brainwave is the brainwave that you're in most of the time that you're awake, and you'll fluctuate between different brainwaves. And beta is like the analytical one, the one that's taken in all the sensory.
Sorry, what is it you disagree with?
Yeah, I'll get to that.
You didn't explain, you just went, yeah, I disagree.
Yeah, no, so I agree that you can overthink. So I agree with you there, but I disagree that you don't need to know about it. Like, I disagree there, and I'll tell you why. So with that thing that I was talking about, so the beta thing, like, and this is why I agree with you about like the analyzing too much. In that beta brainwave that you're in most of the time, is analytical. It's taking in all the sensory data that you're taking when your eyes are open. You've got everything going on. Your mind's trying to make sense of shit. If you go too much into the beta, you'll then get ill and you'll get diseases and things like that. And that's how one way it can come about, because you're spending too much time in your analytical neocortex part of the brain. So I agree that you can overthink that, and I noticed that first, when I read about this, and I was like, whoa, I noticed that in the gym. It was when like the gym was super busy. If I paid too much attention to everyone else and what was going on, I'd be exhausted by the end of the day, like really exhausted if I was kind of like, so when I was doing tasks, I was just focused on the task. I wasn't trying to also focus on the task, but maybe I kind of make sure this person's all right, or like that would just exhaust me. And I recognize like, oh, that's beta, that's where I'm in. And I'll talk more about like all the different brainwaves when I learn it a bit more, so I can simplify it. And so the reason why,
What I'm saying in general is not everybody needs to know. Not everybody needs to fully understand, because like you don't have to always do research into something. You can base a lot of things just on how you feel about something. Like
yeah, like that could be your compass, because that will take you out your head and into your body when you do that.
So like I was explaining that on a more basic level. Like, I don't know, say I wanted to know why I feel shit today, rather than me like going reading loads about psychology and reading about what chemicals are in my brain and all shit like that. I can just look at it on a more basic level and think, I feel shit today because I've not done anything fun. Or, do you know what I mean? Like, go back to something more primitive in your mind. You don't need to get really scientific and talk about how I don't know. Does that make sense? So when you strip everything back and look at something on a more basic level, like, do we need the science behind it, or is it good to just listen to your body or your feelings and just think, right, well, I think I'll benefit from this, or I'm going to try that. Do you know what I mean? So again, it's like, in a way, we can sort of just go off what we feel about something. Do you know what I mean? It's, as I was saying before, like you're saying about like the car, it's not a very good analogy, but I don't need to know everything about my car to use it effectively. Like, I don't need to know about the engine.
But
Like,
you do need to know about your mind, though. You really do. Dude, that's an idea that I will never ever be talked out of. If you're born and you learn about your mind and you learn about yourself and you learn about your patterns and you learn about your emotional states and you learn about all those things, it's 100% going to improve your life. 100%. If you sit down and you close your eyes and you watch your mind, because I think I said this to you the other day about, like, if you want to meet someone, you sit down, you ask them questions. So why wouldn't you do the same with your own mind? Like, so that's what you
yeah,
do.
like it's like discovery, isn't it? By having an extra bit of information, you can sort of utilize that.
Yeah. And so if you're sat down and you've got your eyes closed and you notice a pattern of, oh, that's weird, these are the things that I think about, and you write them down, and then you think, well, why do I think quite badly about that and good about this? And then what you do is, then in your open awakefulness, walking around, you then know the pattern in your head, and then you get away.
I thought about Will Farrell when he was talking about the tuners. Then get some walking around money. What does he say?
Oh, what's his name? Because he's a fucking pimp, isn't he?
Yeah,
Gator. Gator
Gator
don't
don't
play
take
no
no
shit.
shit. Get
Yeah.
some walking around money.
Gator ain't never been about playing no shit.
This is there's a lot more to be said about this, and I'm enjoying the conversation, but I need to hold it there because I've got something on. But to sort of wrap up,
Rhymes with Matt Moon.
what?
It rhymes with Matt Moon.
Yeah, right.
Matt Mooing.
We will reconvene.
Love you.
See you later. Peace.